Welcome back to the channel where I give you my recommendations up front for new streaming content, and then I hope that you stick around and see if I can justify my recommendations. Today we're going to go and actually review CJ's Grill on Tubi. Now, for target audience members, and by target audience, I'm thinking fans of workplace comedies, dramas, things of that nature, I'm going to suggest that you watch the first episode of this series. Now, if you're a casual viewer, you don't really go and actually work you don't really care about workplace comedies or dramas or anything like that. You're just trying to see if this is something for you. I'm going to go ahead and actually tell you that this is a skip it. Now, those are my recommendations. Stay tuned and see if I can justify it.
I gave the okay to hire you, and you're making me look like a fool already.
Being the new person at any job can be difficult. Being the newbie at a restaurant is worse.
CJ's Grill is a comedy drama that premiered on Tubi in February of 2024. Its first season has 6 episodes that are roughly about 28 minutes each, and it stars Alexander Ortiz as Bradley Harper, Dorothea Elena Gloria as Claire Harris, and Kristen Kilburn as Anne. IMDb has the plot like this. Watch Claire, Bradley, Bobby, and the rest of the staff as they navigate restaurant life in New York City's West Village. So, does that plot sound foreign to you? Probably does. Because this is part of my Varnell Hill series. This show asks,
Did you miss me?
that's right, did you miss me? Because these are the shows that have had at least a 6-month run on a streaming platform, and they have yet to be noticed by the mainstream. So I go and actually review them and see, are these diamonds in the rough, or are they actually cold? So hopefully you appreciate that vibe for it. Now, in regards to what this series is kind of going for, it's comparable to Waiting, or like Two Broke Girls, or even Superstore. Those are some of the things that I think that it could go and actually kind of compare favorably to. Maybe it was going for, has a little bit of flavor of those on there. And so we'll go ahead and actually go, those are some other things that you could kind of compare this to. If I'm a target audience for a series like this or not, gotta remember, comedy is always hard, especially when you're mixing comedy and drama and you have like certain subject matters. It can be even more difficult. You have to keep a balancing act of like certain tones to make sure that you're not leaning too much into comedy, too much into drama and things like that. And it can be very difficult. When you're judging comedies that are centered on a workplace, it becomes even more difficult to go ahead and actually do some things as far as like character building or certain subject matters or plots. You just have it centered around a certain workplace or what have you. And it really restricts on some of the things that you can go and actually do. Now, shows like Cheers and The Office were successes in finding that particular balance and character building, things like that, and they work for it. But for every one of those, there's so many that have actually failed. So when you're centering on some 20-somethings, which this series does, and it's in a New York restaurant, and it's in the West Village and things like that, it's really confining you to certain like archetypes and things like that. So this one, I'm going to go and actually say I'm on the fence. I'm neither a target audience member, nor am I a casual viewer. I'm kind of in the middle of this. The reason why I give you that perspective is you should always know the perspective of your reviewer when they're giving you a recommendation on a series. So for me, hey, I can go either way on this one. So hopefully you like that perspective. If you like that and you like that thought process on it, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. And now let's deep dive into CJ's Grill. When looking over the first episode of this one, some of the things that I kind of noticed from this is like, first and foremost, like the first few minutes, they kind of had like a handheld camera shooting that was highly annoying, and it really got on your nerves. I mean, like, I think it would make you go and actually turn off in the first couple minutes if you don't like that type of camera shooting and thing like that. So that's something. The opening scene was kind of like a flash forward type of thing, and it actually did not have an advantage in the context of this particular series. So I don't know why they chose to do a flash forward and then kind of backtrack you a little bit. Just, you could have actually done the regular linear path and think you'd have been perfectly fine on that one. So that was just kind of weird that they did that. They also kind of do that, what I will label as kind of like the profile IDs. Kind of remember that they did that in Suicide Squad to kind of give you like, oh, what is this person? Who are they? Blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And I don't understand why they spent the time to do this in here. I want to say it's because they introduced probably too many characters and they recognize that. And so here's like quick synopsis of characters. But then again, like usually like the scene afterwards that they give you the little ID card or rundown, they tell you who the character is anyway. So just show us and let us know, who they are and things like that. I think it's more beneficial to do that if you actually have a smaller cast and you're trying to get bang home a particular point, like, hey, this person is over the top this, or they really like this, or blah blah blah, something that's going to magnify itself into that particular episode or the next scene or what have you, to elevate the character's profile or whatever. Otherwise it just seemed kind of like superfluous. It wasn't necessary. There's some rapid fire situations and arrangements that they didn't really build up enough for either drama or comedy in that first episode, meaning that they were there, the situations were happening, but there wasn't enough time spent with them for you to either get entertainment value of comedy or drama out of it. And we kind of get some cutaways and things of that nature. Things were not allowed to develop. We didn't get enough out of it to just get us somewhere with it. It was kind of, a little distracting. The end of episode 1 was actually, if you like one of the characters for the most part, and then I would say it's the Claire character. If you like the Claire character enough, or just the situation, episode 1 kind of left you with an idea of like, oh, okay, I would definitely want to see episode 2 because it has a nice little cliffhanger aspect of it too. So I think they did a really good job of doing that to go and actually spur you to watch the next episode. When you start episode 2, the opening scene and the kind of like the overall theme of this episode is sketchy. It's overbearing, and ultimately, the surprising part is that it led to nothing. And so, if you're going to like, it is a continuation from the last scene in the first episode. It's the main aspects of at least the first 10 minutes of episode 2, maybe even longer than that within the episode. But then it ultimately doesn't do anything. There's no payoff there, and you're kind of like, why did they introduce if they weren't going to do anything with it? And that was very much just annoying as hell. There was, in episode 2, I started to notice that they started using some of the B-roll, which is actually decent. And they could have used a little bit more of that to break up some of the scenes a little bit more, to transition us into knowing, like, getting us out of either like a quote unquote comedy situation or a dramatic situation, or one that we have yet to, like, we should change up our mindset and go to the next one on there. They could have used more of that B-roll to kind of, to do those transitions on there. It'd have been nice if they'd have done that. You could tell that, you really pick up on it in the second episode, of either the place that they have there that they've set up as being a diner and grill over there is like really small, or they didn't have complete run of the place, because we kind of are in a box of like maybe 3 tables that you can go ahead and actually see visually, and then like the kitchen, very sectioned off portion of the kitchen, and then a sectioned off portion of like the hostess area, and then kind of like the preparer station. So everything is like very much, you feel condensed, and maybe most restaurants in New York City are like that. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. We just didn't get a full layout of this bar and grill, and so it kind of, it disturbs me from a standpoint of kind of knowing where the distance are some of these conversations, some things that are going on, and things like that. I think we could get some better relativity on the comedy or drama built up if we kind of know what we're dealing with spatially and whatever. Just that might be a nitpick, but it did kind of pop up for me on the second episode. There was definitely a romantic angle that we're kind of going for, and it got awkward and cumbersome. It just was not set up well. It was just like all of a sudden here it's here, and I'm just telling you, I didn't like it. I don't want to spoil anything in case you do watch it, but I just feel like it was just a unnecessary type of thing on there. Just they could have went somewhere else with that, or introduce it later in the series and maybe hint at it or something like that. But it was just kind of weird. The ending for episode 2 was like, man, they didn't do anything to kind of make you say like, I definitely got to watch the next episode to kind of continue on. Even with me not all on board with everything that happened, I do give credit for series that are able to like build you up and make you want to watch the next episode. This one didn't go ahead and actually do that, so it kind of left you flat in episode 2. So those are my observations there. Storytelling for this, tone and pacing they're really important for a comedy. I mean, you have to go ahead and actually do that, especially when you have like heavy subjects and things like that you're trying to do, a kind of strike that balance and what have you. This show missed the mark on understanding tones for whether you're going to be a comedy or a drama, and when stuff is kind of separate, whatever. Just, you have to be able to be engaging and or entertaining, and doing either or, and just neither one actually hit it. There's also the pacing aspect of things of kind of like cutting away when they really didn't know how to end a scene. It was just like really jaunting of like, if you're cutting away, then you should be cutting away because either there's something to lead up that I want to watch for the next scene to develop, or a joke at the expense of either the butt of the joke or the setting or the situation or something of that nature to make you go ahead and actually laugh. But the cutaways here were kind of dumb because no one, I think, really knew how to end scenes. So it's just boom, you go to the next one and go on through it. This is probably a uh, this is probably a comedy that would have benefited from old school laugh tracks, just to kind of let us know where the comedy is supposed to be coming at, and probably would have made it a little bit more entertaining because on their own, the script writing, the script, and the actors did not go and actually give us those cues on making stuff funny and the deliveries and things like that. We couldn't go ahead and actually get there naturally. So laugh track probably would have helped this one out. And then the last aspect of it, and I kind of touched on it previous, is that if you're going to go and actually introduce love interest as part of the core story, make it make sense from either a chemistry and or a story wise. Just don't slip it in there as like, oh yeah, this happens naturally because. That's just not the way that things go on. There's something that happens either naturally chemistry wise or story wise. It kind of makes people kind of like, oh, okay, I like this person, I might like this person, oh, they got something, they have a characteristic, they have blah blah blah, whatever, to go ahead and actually make them want to spur on or what have you. And I just think that the scripts and the writing didn't do a whole lot here for the actors. So storytelling for CJ's Grill for me is going to be a D minus. For acting is kind of difficult for me on this one because while the script didn't do a lot to help these actors, it definitely did not. But as an actor, it's your job to kind of do something to kind of make yourself stand out, to go and actually make sure that if it's a comedy that you kind of get over and be entertaining. If it's a drama, you kind of make people believe that, hey, you're really going through it. Of some of the characters in this one, I think some of the people were kind of okay with the characters, like uh, Dorothea, Elena Gloria as Claire. She was kind of at times, she kind of personified that new girl type of thing, persecution and trying to learn things or whatever. So at times I believed her, but then there were other times that she annoyed me because there's just a natural progression of somebody just being an adult person and saying like, you're going to stand up for yourself or you're going to question some things and have more to the character. It just naturally has to go ahead and actually be better than that. You can't make her completely dumb. Or completely that naive and things of that nature. I mean, she's grown up in New York or near New York or what have you. Got to be a little bit smarter than that or whatever. So just some of that stuff didn't buy it. And then there was another character, like the elusive kind of Bobby character, that the Claire character was taking the place of because Bobby had, something had happened to Bobby. I'm not telling you anything that's crazy in this one, that groundbreaking, whatever. But because Claire was a new person, Bobby's the one that was replacing it. And so the way that people could have kind of talked about Bobby could have been kind of like, they could have had a chance to make him like otherworldly or mythical or whatever. And then, Bobby shows up, be like either really like super plain Jane, or it could have been like this otherworldly character and could have been like, a star of the show. But the Bobby character, when it goes ahead and actually appears on there, kind of is unnecessarily mean spirited and annoying and kind of fell flat for me. And it was just kind of like blah. The managers that were on set, they were kind of like blah, didn't really do anything, move the needle or anything like that. You got the handsome dude that was kind of doing way too much, kind of placate people, and none of the people that the stereotypes and archetypes that they were trying to present on there, they went nowhere with it. And honestly, the rest of the staff kind of blurs together. I didn't really have anybody else that kind of stood out for me on that. So, I've watched like productions where it's not so good, the overall production isn't that great, but like one or two characters might stand out here that really didn't happen, and nobody really did anything to entertain me on there. But I will give it a grade of C minus, primarily because they I don't think that there was good direction or good script writing in here to go ahead and actually get those actors to pull something out or whatever. So I'm being generous with the actors on this one. Overall, if for me, there's like a couple of good scenes in the first episode that I believe target audiences would at least be interested in and kind of give it a shot. And the quaint little small setting might kind of reel you in for a little bit as far as where this is taking place, how it's going, and things like that nature. And again, there's a couple of scenes in there, especially with a Karen type of table or whatever, that might kind of get you a little bit for a target audience. For casual viewers, I'm gonna say that I don't really think there's a reason to even watch one episode, because the script and acting and that the one thing that would kind of keep target audience member in there isn't going to go and actually really intrigue a casual viewer, because it's just not enough. So unfortunately, again, target audience member, give it that one episode watch. Casual viewer, go ahead and actually check out some other things like Two Broke Girls, Superstore, Waiting with Ryan Reynolds, which wasn't great, but at least is more tolerable than this one. It has some jokes in it, things like that that are a little bit more tolerable. But that's what I have for CJ's Grill, now showing on Tubi. Give it a watch.
I don't want you to end up like Bobby.
You don't want to end up like Bobby.
You do not want to end up like Bobby.
You don't want you to end up like Bobby.
I'm back!
You stayed for the entire review. I appreciate you. Loving it. You can see the channel's growing and whatnot. Do me a favor, if you liked anything on here, click like, share it. If you really want me to do more reviews, whether it's because of the Varnell Hill series, where I'm kind of deep diving into some shows that you probably never heard of before, or some of the mainstay ones that are really popular, whatever, go ahead and actually subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep on pumping them out or whatnot. Also, the algorithm thinks that you might like this video down here, so give this video a watch. And honestly, until next time, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.
Now that's a happy ending. Or is it? Because everything's over now, and all that's left is you and the infinite void.